Appreciate everybody taking the time to be here. It's great to be live on 1660 with Jeff and Jeremy. And again, very, very excited about the time of year. Coach Cook and the soccer team wrapped up with a tremendous finish to their year. I want to wish the volleyball, football, all the best as they wind things down too. And I know golf kind of had a lot of fun and some successes towards the end of their season as well. But the transition of sports and seasons is real fun for me, being a football coach's son and now being a basketball coach. I want to wish Coach Walseth, Coach Kish, all the best in their season as well. And we're just excited to get going. This is I've said this countless times now, this is a very fun group to be around. You go back to last spring, we had a very challenging spring from a standpoint of we really challenged our guys to see if you are interested in our program, you're not going to be successful. We wanted to find out who was fully committed. And we had 8 guys stick around that were fully committed. They've set a great tone for the 6 new guys. And that's carried over into almost 30 practices now in October. And we're excited to hit the road Friday morning and to compete against a complete unknown in UC Santa Barbara from a standpoint of a first-year head coach with some guys coming off injuries, some grad transfers. But all to be expected in that first game. I think the phrase that's kind of come up quite a bit within our program this fall is a big picture perspective. We have a young group again. 9 of our 13 scholarship kids are underclassmen. Again, a very exciting group, versatile group. We have some depth, we have some talent. But I think there's an oldie song, Mama Said There'll Be Days Like This. And you could see us yesterday kicking the ball around the gym a little bit. We've shown signs of brilliance, and we showed signs of yesterday that there's going to be a growing experience. Again, when I go big picture perspective, for us, these next 6-7 weeks are very important for us to get comfortable, to get into a routine as we round into January, February, and then obviously March. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Any of your freshmen look like they can contribute right away?
Yeah, there's certainly some possibilities, Keith. And we'll make those final decisions right before game time on Saturday. I've been very pleased with all of our kids, the mindset they've come in with, the compete mentality that they come with. And there's it's nice, there's a real luxury coaching some of those new guys. They've got a real high basketball IQ, a nice intellect that's easily, translates easy. They take coaching very well. You're not having to reteach things over and over. Their questions are very good. So that's been definitely a positive as well.
Progressing?
Yeah, maybe a little bit slower than we had hoped. We're finally starting to get them into some practice, trying to be mindful. I think from my understanding, from talking to Steph and to talking to AJ, the injury is healed, but almost 2 months of inactivity. We just got to be smart with his fatigue and not re-injuring that injury, or probably more so having another injury occur because of that. So when I talk big picture perspective, we'll see where AJ's at for Saturday. No matter what, I think we all, myself most importantly, got to be very cognizant of his minutes.
How much growth have you seen from Paul this offseason and just I don't know, it feels like we've been talking about him forever, but kind of that nice expected maturity at this point?
Yeah, there's no question. And you go back to the end of his sophomore year when he's sitting on the bench because of my choice, my decision, because of what I felt at the time were just some immaturities. It was a great teaching point for us, for this program, for all of us to learn from. And even going back to that, coming out of that game, that next week I sat down with Paul and just said, hey, maybe you're not the problem, maybe I am, but I'm not going anywhere. Maybe to his credit, he came back and he wanted to stick around, he wanted to be pushed, he wanted to be held accountable, and you can see him physically, he's gotten stronger, but more importantly, mentally, he's just gotten more mature. Like all of us, we still have continued work to do. Paul wants nothing more than to go back to the NCAA tournament than like he did his freshman year. What we're all trying to get him and everybody to understand is we can't do this alone. We have to trust the sum of all of our parts.
Tough moments. Those are, sort of, lack of a better term, come to Jesus moments for a program, for you, for players. How valuable was that, though? And just in the leader that he can be now for those next guys coming, about the role everybody has to play.
Yeah, really, in the grand scheme of things, Beth, I don't know how tough those are. We're coaching basketball. It was really good for me to see the perspective. Coach Popovich at the Spurs, they won a game the other day, but right afterwards, he talked about how tough it is to celebrate with the shootings that happened in Texas. For me, I certainly love the game of basketball. It's a great way for me to be competitive, but it also is a great platform to teach life lessons to a bunch of guys at a very influential point of their lives too. And Paul's growing from it. I think we've all grown from it, and hopefully we're all better for it.
Look at this weekend and prepare for a weekend on the road to open up the season where you've got number 10 team looming?
Yeah. Again, I know it's coaching cliche. I don't know a whole bunch about USC right now because our focus, especially these couple days, is still on us, continuing to get better. And then as we start to reset, Wednesday and then going into, most importantly, Thursday's prep is UC Santa Barbara. And we need to make sure we're focused and locked in. Certainly, you see the press clippings and the preseason rankings and all the talent and how deep they are. Coach Infeld's a tremendous coach, but right now our focus is on us and then transitioning into Santa Barbara.
How much pressure is there on how much do you talk about this with some of your players, knowing that the non-conference is such a difficult non-conference that you might not get the results early on?
Yeah, I don't know if pressure is a word. I think, again, I go back to one of the big phrases that's made North Dakota State athletics successful. It's bring on the competition, and we're very excited about it. This schedule, you look at it, 5 of our first 7 are on the road. It's not just the competition. It's where we're facing that competition. But when you come here, you want to be challenged. You want to compete against the best, and from the very start all the way to the finish, we're going to be competing against some very, very good teams. USC and Arizona are in the top 10 in the country. Missouri State team, who we're going to face twice, was picked to win the Missouri Valley. And I think the Summit League is continuing to become a better and better league from a reputation standpoint. So we need to challenge ourselves in the non-conference. We need to continue to learn and grow and get better these next 6-7 weeks. And certainly the teams that we face are going to provide those opportunities for us.
You see Dylan playing this year?
Been very pleased with Dylan's off season. He's changed his body around. His weight has gone down, which will hopefully help him with some of his injuries that he's had in the past, but all of his strength numbers, his endurance numbers, his vertical numbers, they've all increased. Just hoping for Dylan to be able to sustain his minutes just a little bit longer. Dylan's very talented, got a unique skill set, great hands, understands the spacing on the floor offensively. He's got a good size, good presence. Just for Dylan to take that next step, it's going from 1.5 minutes to 3-minute stretches, and continuing to sustain that effort, and just his patience with some things that you hope as you round into your 3rd year in the program that those signs will show through.
What's the next step for Dang?
Dang just slowing down. Dang showed flashes. Dang showed some style. Dang gets you really excited. Just consistently slowing down and making the little simple things happen throughout the course of the game. Jumping to the ball, understanding that the first time you touch the ball, don't need to dribble it or shoot it. Just kind of let the game come to him a little bit. And again, and I say this in all fairness to Dang, he's playing at a different position than he did in high school. He only started playing basketball when he was in 7th grade, so that learning curve is a lot greater for him. A guy like Dexter Warner at this point in his career had never really stepped on the floor at all for meaningful minutes. So we've been very encouraged at the progress we've seen from Dang thus far. Now that next step is when the lights come on to again, like him, like myself, like all of us, continuing to get comfortable these next 6-7 weeks.
You're still learning about this team, but do you think there's going to be any identity shift from last season to this season?
As far as
team focus mentality, the way you play the games, tempo? No.
I got asked that question this morning. You're not going to see 40 minutes of press or 30 minutes of zone or anything like that. We put a renewed focus defensively. Just that's been our emphasis. We talk a lot about defending, rebounding, and taking care of the ball. Are we really emphasizing those things? You come out to our practice, the first 20 or 30 minutes are spent solely on defending, because I think especially come February, March, that's going to be very key. We're not doing a very good job right now of taking care of the ball. That was evident in our practice yesterday. But again, it's hard for me to fault our our intent right now because our guys are flying around, competing, trying to make plays. It's just my job now to help them slow down and understand when and how to make those plays.